The Amex Business Platinum card was great, but I think, unfortunately, it's been ruined. From my perspective, this card is pretty much cooked if you're not, a high value spender and you're not a business spender. I'm going to walk you through why I think that, but I think it's important to realize they're not targeting us. I understand. But unfortunately, another one of our keeper beautiful cards has unfortunately been ruined and kicked to dust. So we're going to get into that right now. So here we go. Currently, the sign-up bonus, by the way, is 200K MR. I got it with 250K MR. So if you're going to spend it on that, no problem at all. That's 100% worth doing. Okay, let's look at the new benefits. So, of course, the annual fee increased up to almost $900. So we're trying to target $900 of value. So keep that in your mind. Are we really getting $900 in value? First thing, $300 semi-annually on the FHR and hotel collection. That's not that great for me. First of all, these hotels are $1,000 a night hotels, $500 a night hotels, maybe a bit cheaper. And for me, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I have enough points. If I take a trip, which I don't do that often, I would just use points. I mean, that's the whole idea behind this entire project. It's the whole idea behind this whole thing. So for me, just not that valuable. I just don't really need this. I'm not going to stay, 2 nights twice a year at one of these high value hotels. So $300 semi-annually doesn't really move the needle for me. Maybe once in a while I'll do it. So I'll value this at something to be sure, but nothing like nothing like 600. Let's call it 200, maybe 200, 300, something like that. This 550 value as well, not that valuable to me. Again, I have diamond status, so it's with Hilton, so that's what I use, and that's pretty much all of these benefits. So again, not really super, super valuable. This hasn't changed much, by the way. The lounge collection, same kind of idea, and obviously you get your 10 Delta Sky Club visits, which is really good. And I have a personal and business, so between the two of them, that's no problem at all. This actually is a certain value because I fly Delta. I'm a Delta Platinum member, so I fly Delta a lot. Very valuable to have that Sky Club pass, and otherwise I would just probably get a reserve. So from my perspective, we could value this at some amount. Let's call it $100. Hilton credit. I stay at Hilton's a lot. Valued it at the full 200, so we're up to about 500 in value. Airline fee credit. Again, I have Delta Platinum. This is not really valuable to me, right? You can't just use this for tickets, in case you didn't know. You have to use it for like incidental fees, which is baggage fees, which I never have had ever. I think seat options, which isn't really something I've needed, because again, I just get bumped up. So I think this is like a zero value to me. Clear, also zero value to me, because I get it from so many other things. Again, by the way, I'm looking at this video from the perspective of an enthusiast, from the perspective of someone who has a bunch of credit cards, who has a lot of duplicating benefits. And if that's not you, maybe you'd consider this. I don't think you still would, because you'd get the personal out of this, and there's no question about it. But I think the main point is that the clear, not clear credit aside, all this stuff is kind of cooked. They need to provide outsized value. That's the coupon strategy. They're providing you just tons and tons of value, and you're like, okay, I'll use some of it. And for this, the math doesn't really math for me, especially as we get down into the really, really big credits, the $1,000 plus credits. It doesn't really work for me. Again, you're probably going to have clear. If you have a business Hilton, if you have an Amex Business Platinum card, you probably have some other card that's going to give you clear. That's just the reality. So then you also have Leaders Club Sterling status, valued at zero. I'm just a Hilton Diamond guy. This doesn't really move the needle. Hotel collection, again, doesn't really move the needle. Free credit for gold entry or TSA pre-check. Same idea. You probably already have that. That's on so many cards right now that I almost guarantee you have it on something. Wow. 20 minutes of disconnectivity. So yeah, moving into the actual credits. Oh, by the way, you have all, these statuses and stuff, but that's like, again, I have Hilton Diamond with other cards. That may be valuable to you if you don't, but I don't think gold moves the needle that much, especially in the US. And then these are, sort of more typical kind of premium benefits. I've actually never used AAA insurance. I have used the car rental loss and damage insurance before. It worked great. Not on this card, actually, but yeah, they worked great. That's actually not worth that much because you can get that optionally, let's say, with the gold card. So even if you don't have a platinum, you can get that optionally. And that's actually what I did. It was like $20, I think, for the trip. Covers you up to 41 days, so it's no problem. Maybe it's cheaper than that, actually. So very minimal value unless you're renting cars constantly, which I'm not. Same thing with trip cancellation and interruption. Never really did that. And bag insurance and all these other things. Foreign transaction fees, of course, is standard with most of these kind of cards. Okay, so the previous Dell credit I think was $200, and then it got bumped up to $1,150. So great move by Amex. Wonderful. That's a huge win. Except you have to spend $5,000 at Dell. So, I mean, how much are I valuing this at? Realistically? Am I even spending $150 of natural spend at Dell? No way, no how, it's not happening. So, this is like borderline valueless to me. $150 on US purchases directly with Dell Technologies. And is it borderline valueless? And this additional 1,000 after you spend 5,000, that's like an offer you add to your card. That's not like it's like a 20% off coupon, right? That's not like one of these credits which actually kind of gives you free stuff, right? Or stuff that you didn't have to pay for separately. That's not what this is. It is. And so that's really disappointing. The Adobe credit might be valuable to me personally, except I get it through my institution, so it doesn't help me very much. But if I did spend on Adobe, that would be wonderful, of course. Indeed is a hiring platform, useless to me. And I pay for Mint Mobile, so I do it once a year, and I get my Mint Mobile, and it's all in 1 month, right? It's prepaid for the year, so this is worth literally nothing. Unfortunately, it's not worth anything to me at all, which is a shame. But that's what it is. So I get $10 out of this for the year. Now, this was an improvement, and this might be useful for you. You get 2x on construction and hardware suppliers like Home Depot and stuff like that. Electronic good retailers, Best Buy, I've used on this card for this thing, and it worked fine. And software and cloud system providers, that's like Google Cloud, AWS, that kind of stuff. Shipping providers and eligible purchases of 5,000 or more. This is only useful for running a business, and the reason it is only useful for that population is because if you got a Hilton or if you got an Amex Blue Business Plus, you just get 2x on everything. So this is one of those things that like sounds good. It got bumped up from 1.5x, but unless you're spending more than 50K on this stuff, it's not valuable. And you could always just get a second one, right? So unless you're spending more than, let's say, 100K on it, it's not valuable. So again, they're targeting the guys who are spending 2 million of these per year. Not really me. Again, I'm not the target demographic, but it is just a shame from a enthusiast perspective that this card's not really viable anymore as a keeper card. Because I do love Amex and I do love keeping them. So now here are the big ones. You unlock let's talk about Amex Travel first. $1,200 in Amex Travel flight statement credit. Wow, you got to value that at $1,200. The problem is, it's after spending $250,000 in eligible purchases in the calendar year. So really, it's just not worth anything. To me, again, I don't spend $250,000. If I did spend $250,000 on AWS, that would move the needle for me to spend my $250,000 on AWS on my business platinum card, but I don't, so it's not valuable. Again, looking at this from the enthusiast perspective, not from the general business perspective. Also, $2,400 on the American Express 1AP statement credit. That's like a accounts payable management platform. So it's essentially like vendor management and that kind of stuff. But yeah, again, I don't use that, and so even if it didn't have to spend $250,000, it would still be not useful to me. The mirror card, though, I will say is cool. So that's the one benefit. Again, like if I'm spending a ton of money on flights, whatever, worth having, but of course the personal is the same. So I really don't see this as having, again, we really can't make up the $900 of value, and you can on the personal, right? So that's what's sort of disappointing about this is it's such a departure from the way the personal does, where the personal just says, here's all this stuff, you're gonna need some of it, and this is just like some really kind of niche things. Throw a Resi credit on here, throw some Uber Eats. Even from a business perspective, they use Uber, right? They use Uber Eats, so it wouldn't be outside the theme. But yeah, I don't see a way that this value could break down logically, and a couple of these things are doing, let's put it like this, heavy lifting. Also valuing the Global Lounge collection in money is a little bit questionable too. But yeah, so I think overall, I think this card's like bad. Like honestly, it's just bad if you aren't the target demographic. Now, of course, Amex knows this. This is why they're doing it, because I'm not the target demographic. But from our perspective, just being honest, it's just not good anymore. And the same can't be said. The Amex Business Gold is workable for enthusiasts. A lot of the Amex business cards, Hilton, all the Delta cards, they're all workable for enthusiasts. And they are sort of targeted at small individual owners, company owners that want to extract value. This is like a much bigger scale of business. You need $1 million business to make this work, or $1 million spend business to make this work. And that's simply not who I am. And so that's why it probably doesn't work for me. But anyway, if you did enjoy the video, please do subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one.